Welcome to Jim Rohn Treasures, where timeless wisdom meets modern life. I want to tell you something. Something very simple, but it can change the way you live every single day. Have you ever wondered why some people move forward every year while others stay in the same place even though they work hard, dream big, and have ambition? It's not because they're luckier. It's not because they're smarter. It's because they live differently. Every day they have a set of habits. Small ones but repeated long enough to become powerful actions that seem ordinary but quietly reshape their destiny. I call it the daily dozen. 12 small daily principles. And if you truly live by them, you will never be the same person again. I've seen so many people start with burning passion, then let it fade in fatigue in old habits. They say, "I'll start again tomorrow." But tomorrow never comes. Each day passes the same, and they don't realize that every single day is a vote for their future. Every action is a choice, either moving you forward or pulling you back. I once said success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. And to become the kind of person worthy of success, you must plant 12 seeds each day. 12 habits, 12 small disciplines, 12 foundations for time. To become your ally, not your enemy. Stay until the end of this video because Principle 7 might change the way you see discipline, and the final principle will help you understand why giving is the ultimate level of success. Let's begin this journey together. The Daily Dozen of Success, 12 principles that can create a life of difference. Principle 1, the law of discipline and compounding. The law of discipline and compounding. The bridge principle. You learn something very early in life. Success doesn't come from shining moments, but from small things repeated quietly and consistently every day. Anyone can work hard for a week. Anyone can be enthusiastic for a month. But very few people can stay consistent for years. And that's where the line is drawn between those who try hard and those who become great. I once said discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. You can have goals, you can have inspiration, but without discipline everything stays just an intention. Emotions change easily. You're fired up today, tired tomorrow. If you let emotions lead, your life will swing like waves. But if you let discipline lead, everything starts to align. Discipline is not a burden. It's the foundation of freedom. Only when you do what you must, will you earn the right to do what you want. Discipline teaches you to move beyond emotions, to act even when motivation is gone. And those very actions repeated daily create a compounding power stronger than you imagine. Imagine each right action you take is a drop of water. Each day you add one more drop. At first nothing changes, but one day the glass fills and you realize every great achievement was built from those small drops. Like the farmer, he doesn't plant today and expect to harvest tomorrow. He plants, he waters, he cares, and he believes because he knows if he keeps going, the soil will reward him. So will you. If you plant the seed of discipline and water it with consistency, time will become your best friend. Time always favors those who compound. Every good action, no matter how small, multiplies over time. Every small mistake, if repeated, becomes a massive debt. Skip one workout, then 2, then 3. Nothing happens today, but much will be lost tomorrow. On the other hand, read one page, then 2, then 10. You might not feel it at first, but those pages are silently reshaping your mind. That's the law of compounding. You can't win overnight, but you can win if you improve just 1% every day. I told my students, you can't change your life in one day, but you can change its direction in a single moment. The moment you choose discipline over emotion, the moment you choose action over delay, discipline is what keeps you from needing motivation every morning. Because once action becomes habit, you no longer argue with yourself. And then the miracle happens. You start believing in yourself. When you keep the smallest promise, you build the strongest trust, self-trust. You know that when you say, "I will," you will. And that's the deepest source of confidence. So today I want you to pause and ask yourself, what seeds am I planting each day? Every choice, every habit is a seed. Some will grow into flowers, some into weeds. You can't grow both. Choose carefully what you plant because one day you will live in the garden you've grown. When you do the small thing right and do it long enough, the big things will find you. And once you've learned to build discipline daily, the next step is to steer that discipline in the right direction. Because if discipline is the engine, then your daily plan is the steering wheel. In the next part, I'll share with you a simple principle that can change how you start every morning. Never start a day until it's finished on paper. Principle 2. Plan before the day. Plan before the day begins. If discipline is the engine, then planning is the steering wheel. You can have the strongest car, but if you don't know where you're going, you're just driving in circles, burning your own fuel. I've seen so many people wake up tired, rush to answer messages, scroll through social media, and let the day be controlled by what's urgent. They do a lot, but go nowhere. Have you ever felt that way? Busy, but not progressing. Working all day, but ending the night feeling empty. That's because you're living by reaction, not by intention. I told my students, don't start your day until it's finished on paper. It sounds simple, but this is one of the most powerful habits I've ever learned. Before you fall asleep, spend 10 minutes writing down 3 things. 1. What must be completed tomorrow? 2. What can wait? 3. And what truly matters? Just those 3 lines turn you from a passive participant into an active director of your day. I often compare planning to building a house. No one grabs a pile of materials and starts hammering randomly. You need a blueprint. You need to visualize before you act. A workday is no different. Without a blueprint, you'll waste energy on things that don't matter. When you write your plan at night, your mind relaxes. You don't wake up uncertain because you already know what awaits. You sleep better and wake up with purpose. That's an advantage 95% of people don't have. A plan doesn't need to be perfect. It can be in a notebook, a piece of paper, or notes on your phone. What matters is the habit, not the format. Because every time you plan, you train your brain to think with order. You turn intention into specific action. That's how strategic thinking begins. When you have a plan, you no longer argue with yourself each morning. You don't ask, "What should I do today?" You simply do what you've already decided. That clarity gives you power. It removes waste and gives you a priceless gift time. You see, many people say, "I don't have time to plan." But the truth is they lose hours each day because they didn't plan. 1 minute of preparation can save hours of confusion. I always say planning is how you double your results without doubling your effort. Imagine this. You start your morning knowing exactly your 3 most important tasks. No scrolling, no chasing distractions. You own the first hour of your morning, and that hour shapes your entire day. When you control the start, everything else becomes 10 times easier. But planning doesn't mean rigidity. Life will always bring surprises. But a good plan is like a sail. It lets you adjust direction even when the wind changes. No one controls the wind. But everyone can control their sail. So before you end your day, sit down and write just 10 minutes. You're investing in tomorrow. You're rebuilding your sense of direction, and you're telling yourself, "I have purpose. I know where I'm going." And tomorrow morning when you open your eyes, you won't start by asking, "What should I do today?" You'll simply step into action already designed. That's the difference between a day that just passes and a day that's created. A day written before it begins is a day already half won. And once you have discipline and a clear plan, the next step is to build a mind strong enough to sustain both. Because you can't build a big life with a mind fed by small things. In the next part, we'll talk about one habit that completely changed my life. Feed your mind daily. Principle 3. Feed your mind daily. Nourish your mind every day. Once you've built discipline and learned to plan your days, there's something deeper, something that determines how long you'll last. It's your mind. I once said you can't have a big life if your mind is fed by small things. You can't stay disciplined if your mind is chaotic. You can't stick to a plan if your thoughts are full of noise. The human mind is like a garden. If you don't plant seeds on purpose, weeds will grow by themselves. Every day, we're surrounded by endless inputs. News, social media, arguments, comparisons, noise. If you don't control the input, the world will fill you with whatever it wants. And slowly, you lose the ability to think clearly. You start reacting instead of choosing. You chase noise instead of listening to your inner voice. I realized this early on when I met my first mentor, Earl Skay. He told me something I never forgot. "Jim, If you want to change your life, change what you put in your head every day. I started reading, not to entertain myself, but to change my thinking. 15 minutes a day, then 30, then an hour, and I realized my mind began to expand. What once seemed impossible now felt within reach. When you read a great book, you're sitting with a great mind. Someone who spent a lifetime learning, failing understanding, and compressed it all into a few hundred pages. You can absorb in hours what took them years to learn. That's the leverage of knowledge. I've always believed reading isn't just to know but to become. Because your mind becomes what you feed it every day. If you read about opportunity, you'll start seeing opportunity. If you read about discipline, you'll act with more order. If you read about success, you'll start breathing its spirit. But if you fill your mind with negativity, gossip, cheap entertainment, you can't build a mindset that leads a great life. So feed your mind powerful material. Read classics. Listen to inspiring talks. Write down what you learn. Discuss with people who make you grow, not shrink. I follow a simple rule. Feed the mind before you feed the body. Give your mind breakfast first. Just 15 minutes each morning, one page, one good idea, one short note in your journal. It can change your entire day's energy. Remember, a strong mind creates strong emotions. And strong emotions lead to strong actions. That's the natural chain of human behavior. If you feel drained, it's not always because of work, but because your mind lacks good fuel. When your mind is nourished, everything else feels lighter, brighter, clearer. So every day, ask yourself, what have I fed my mind today? Knowledge or chaos, faith or fear, goals or distractions? It answer shapes who you become. You can't stop bad seeds from growing out there, but you can choose what you plant inside your head. Because what you plant in your mind will bloom in your actions and harvest in your life. A mind fed daily will never be poor no matter the circumstance. And once your mind grows strong, you'll need a body strong enough to carry it through the journey. Because wisdom cannot thrive in an exhausted body. Physical energy is the foundation of all spiritual achievement. In the next part, we'll talk about why a healthy body not only helps you work better, but helps you live deeper. Principle 4. Move daily. Exercise your body every day. I learned something very important. You cannot have a strong spirit in a weak body. Mind and body are two halves of the same coin. If one half weakens, the other will gradually lose strength too. When I was young, I used to think success was only mindset and strategy. But then I realized when the body is tired, the mind grows dim and the will weakens too. A weary body cannot sustain big dreams. Remember, this energy is life capital, and every day you are either spending it or investing it. If you don't proactively create energy, life will take it from you through stress, through laziness, through habits that seem harmless. I'm not saying you have to become an athlete. I'm simply saying move every day. Walk for 20 minutes. Stretch your body. Practice deep breathing. Anything that reminds you I am alive. When you move, blood circulates, the mind becomes clearer. Focus returns. Emotions stabilize. You begin to feel in control of your day. That's why I always tell my students, a body in order creates a mind in order. Try this in the morning. Instead of grabbing your phone, go outside and breathe fresh air. Let the first sunlight touch your skin. Feel life moving around you. Just a few minutes, but it resets your energy for the whole day. You see, health is not luck. It's the result of discipline. Just as you invest money to generate returns, you must invest time in your body to generate energy. Each time you choose to stand up instead of sit down, you're sending a message to your mind that I'm still in control. And that sense of control is the foundation of confidence. Don't underestimate small things. 15 minutes of movement a day may sound insignificant, but after a year, you'll have 90 hours invested in your health. 90 hours for strength, for flexibility, for mental clarity. That's the compounding effect of the body. Just like the principle you learned in the first part, when you move consistently, you don't just get healthier, you also become more patient because the body teaches lessons books cannot. Lessons about endurance, about slow progress, and about trusting the process. No one becomes strong after just one workout. But those who train every day will one day look back and say, I have changed. I remember someone once asked me, Jim, how do you always have so much energy? I answered simply, I keep my body in motion because I know if I stop, everything else will slow down too. Think about this. If you lose money, you can earn it back. If you lose reputation, you can rebuild it. But if you lose health, everything else becomes meaningless. Your body is the foundation for everything you want to build. Protect it, nourish it, and respect it. So, I want you to start tomorrow just 10 or 15 minutes, a light workout, a short walk, or simply deep breathing, feeling the breath move through you. Do it every day until it's no longer something you have to do, but something you can't not do. A moving body is a living mind. And when both are in sync, you will feel the true power of life. And when your body is nourished, your energy abundant, the next step is learning to keep your heart and soul in balance. Because energy without gratitude turns into arrogance, and effort without reflection soon becomes exhaustion. In the next part, I'll tell you about two of the quietest yet most powerful habits of successful people. Gratitude and reflection. Gratitude and self-reflection every day. Principle 5. Gratitude and reflection. Gratitude and self-reflection every day. After you've built discipline plan, clearly nourished your mind, and maintained physical energy, there's still something vitally important keeping your heart at peace. Because success without gratitude will make you hard. Effort without reflection will make you empty. A strong mind is good, but a still heart is what helps you go the distance. I once said, learn to enjoy what you already have while you pursue what you want. That is the art of gratitude. Gratitude is not complacency. It's how you acknowledge that before you have more, you already have enough. Every morning before I open my phone, I usually spend a minute thinking of 3 things I'm grateful for. No need to be grand. Sometimes it's just health, a good friend, a beautiful sunny day. Those small things are the fuel of the spirit. You cannot carry a heart full of worry through a fulfilled day. But if you begin with gratitude, you'll find everything feels lighter and the whole world seems on your side. I've realized grateful people aren't grateful because they have everything. They have everything because they are grateful. Gratitude makes you see what's right instead of fixating only on what's wrong. It helps you hold on to faith even on the hardest days. And then each time you write down what you cherish, you're building a fence around your mind, keeping fear and doubt from creeping in. But gratitude is only half. The other half is reflection, self-examination. Every evening I sit down with a small notebook, not to write how much I achieved, but to ask myself, did I live right today? Did I react or did I act? Did I do what's right or just what's easy? Did I speak encouragement or unintentionally hurt someone? Those questions are the mirror of the soul. You see, we often measure success by what we achieve, but rarely by who we became in the process. Reflection keeps you from being swept away. It helps you pause, look back, and realign your direction. No time is wasted if you stop long enough to learn from it. Imagine each day as a page. Gratitude is how you write positive line. Reflection is how you read them back to understand more and write better on the next page. I believe that when you combine gratitude and reflection, you both keep your peace and keep growing. A grateful heart helps you love the present. A reflective mind helps you mature for the future. And when those two walk together, you live in balance between being and becoming. Start very small. Before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for today and 1 thing you can do better tomorrow. If you do that for 30 days, you'll see the real magic of change. Because peace doesn't come from controlling the world, but from understanding yourself. A grateful heart is the foundation of happiness. A reflective mind is the foundation of growth. Both, when combined, create a depth in success that nothing else can provide. And when you've practiced gratitude and are still enough to look within, it's time to look ahead with a clear map for your life. Because gratitude gives you life energy, but goals give you direction. In the next part, we'll dive into review your goals daily. And I'll show you why looking at your goals every day is the most powerful way to never lose your way. Principle 6. Review your goals daily. Review your goals every day. After you've learned to practice gratitude and reflection, the next step is to turn your vision forward clear, specific, and intentional. Because gratitude helps you value the present, but goals help you move toward the future. I once said goals are the magnets that pull you toward success. Without goals, all effort is just random motion. You can work hard, but if you don't know where you're heading, all that effort easily becomes exhaustion. I've met many very busy people. They work from morning to night, but after years they're standing in the exact same place where they started. Not because they lack ability, but because they lack direction. You see, energy without direction creates movement, not progress. So, every day I review my goals, not to pressure myself, but to keep my mind focused. I write them down, read them out loud, and imagine myself living in that result. When you do that, you're retraining your mind, teaching it to recognize what you truly want, and filter out what isn't necessary. This sounds simple, but it's the habit most people skip. They set goals in January, then forget them by February. Then, at year's end, they look back and realize that year was no different from the last. Don't let that happen to you because goals don't sustain themselves. It's your continued daily connection with them that keeps them alive. Like a fire, if you don't add wood, it will fade. Goals are the same. If you don't review them, they'll blur into the busyness. I want you to spend 5 minutes each morning, just 5 minutes. Read your goals again. Feel them. Visualize them as done. And ask yourself, what is the smallest thing I can do today to get a little closer? That's the golden question. Because success doesn't come from giant leaps, but from small steps aimed in the right direction. A person who doesn't review goals daily is like a boat at sea that never checks the compass. The wind may change, the waves may rise, but if you still look at the compass, you won't lose your way. I remember when I was young, I wrote my first goals on a single sheet of paper. It had just 5 lines. But every morning, I read it again. I imagined living inside it and acted as if it had already happened. That year I completely changed. Not because of magic, but because I aimed my energy at the right place. Here's the miracle. Once you start reviewing your goals, daily life seems to rearrange itself. You start meeting the right people, reading the right things, and the right opportunities appear. Not because of luck, but because you've retuned your own frequency. Try rewriting your goals today. Not just make more money or be happier. Be clear. What do you want to achieve by when and why it matters to you? Then every morning read them as a promise to yourself. Goals don't just help you get what you want. More importantly, they turn you into the person worthy of it. When you remember clearly where you're heading, every step, no matter how small, gains meaning. And once your goals are clear, you'll soon realize that the path to success is never a straight line. There will be times you face obstacles. Plans don't go as expected, or you feel you're being tested. That's why you must learn to control the input, the environment around you. Because no matter how good your goals are, if you let your mind be poisoned every day, you'll soon drift off your path. In the next part, we'll talk about control your input and how you can protect your mind from the world's noise to keep your direction clear and strong. Principle 7. Control your input. Control your input when you have clear goals and you're taking steps toward them. Be careful with this. Not everything you hear, everyone you meet, or every piece of content you consume each day helps you get closer to success. In fact, most of what's around you is pulling you away from the goals you're pursuing. I once said, the human mind is a garden. If you don't plant good seeds, weeds will grow on their own. That's not only true for thoughts, but for everything you allow into your mind. Think about it. Each day, what are you allowing into your head? Negative news, complaints, meaningless conversations or ideas, knowledge and inspiration. You will become the average of everything you absorb. There was a time I woke up every morning and opened the news, and almost every day began with fear or anger. I didn't realize I was starting my day with someone else's energy. A bad morning just because I chose the wrong input. I want you to imagine the mind as a cup. If you pour black coffee into it every day, don't be surprised if the water inside never turns clear. If you want life to be brighter, change what you're pouring into it. Your environment is the menu for your mind. You can't eat junk and expect a healthy body. Just as you can't absorb negativity and expect a positive life, start with the small things. Who do you talk to the most? Do they make you stronger or make you doubt yourself? What are you following every day? Does that content expand your thinking or drain your focus? I once had a very young student. He said, "Teacher, I don't understand why I always feel exhausted even though I don't do anything heavy." I asked, "What do you read, watch, and listen to each day?" He was silent. Then after a moment, he said, "Mostly negative stuff. People complaining, controversial videos." I smiled and said, "That's exactly why. You're letting others dump trash into your head and you're calling it entertainment." You see, today's world doesn't lack information. It lacks curation. If you don't choose for yourself, someone else will choose for you. If you don't control the input, the world will control your mind. So curate consciously. Only listen to what nourishes you. Only follow those who make you want to live better. Only read what helps you grow beyond yesterday. And most importantly, make time for silence. You don't always need more information. Sometimes what you need is space to digest what you already have. Silence is where wisdom sprouts. If you're truly serious about changing your life, start by cleaning up your mental space. Unfollow what drains you. Reduce contact with people who only complain. Create room for positive energy to enter. You don't need to cut out everything. Just choose less but better. Every morning I choose to listen to an inspiring talk. Every night I read a few pages that help me reflect. Not because I'm forced to do it, but because I know if I don't feed my own mind, someone else will feed it with what they want. Your life isn't determined by what you have, but by what you allow into your mind. And once you've mastered what you take in, it's time to learn how to give. Because no one can be truly wealthy if they only receive and never give. In the next part, I'll talk about give value daily. Because true success doesn't come from how much you accumulate, but from the value you sow into the world every single day. Principle 8. Give value daily. Give value every day. After you've learned to control what you absorb, it's time to turn that energy outward by giving value every day. I once said, you don't get paid for your time. You get paid for the value you bring in that time. That is one of life's greatest truths. You can work 8 hours a day, but if you only repeat what anyone else can do, you'll be paid like them. Value isn't in the number of hours, it's in the difference you create. I remember once a young man asked me, "Teacher, how can I earn more money?" I answered, "Very simple. Become more valuable." He was surprised. "What do you mean?" I said, "Don't demand to be paid more. Learn to be worth more. When you build skills, when you deliver greater value, the world can't ignore you. You see, every reward in life is the result of the value you bring to others. If you help enough people get what they want, you will naturally get everything you want. That's the law of cause and effect and success. But giving value isn't only about money. It can be timely encouragement, a small act of help, or simply doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Value isn't a gift you hand out. It's the imprint you leave after every interaction. Every day I ask myself one question. Did I make someone's life better today? That question changes the way I see the world from what do I need to what can I contribute. And when you live that way, everything else begins to change. You can start small. Smile at a stranger. Offer sincere thanks when helped. Share a piece of knowledge you learned today. When you give you strength and the mindset of abundance within you because the scarce hoe the abundant share. The world doesn't need more people who are good at talking. It needs more people who create real value. Value isn't in words. It's in how people feel when they're around you. Some enter a room and bring light. Some enter and pull all the energy out. The question is, which one are you? When you start giving value, don't expect results right away. Like planting seeds, you need time to see growth. But any seed sown with a true heart will sprout at the right time. Sometimes you may never know who is inspired by you. But trust this, every kind act leaves a trace. I've witnessed this miracle. A friend of mine shared a positive quote online every day. Not for fame, just to spread goodness. And one day, a stranger messaged her, "Because of your post, I didn't give up on my life." One small act, one life saved. That's value. So I want you to remember this. No kind act is meaningless. No word of encouragement is too small. Everything you do with heart sends a message to the universe. You're ready to receive more. And that's the real secret of wealth. The wealthy don't just know how to make money. They know how to give value. Money is simply the natural reward for those who serve the most people with the best spirit. Success isn't what you accumulate. It's what you leave behind. Not what you have, but who you become and how many people you help. And when you've learned to give every day, you'll realize that to sustain it, you need an inner strength and energy that doesn't come from the world, but from within. Because this journey isn't always easy. There will be days you're tired, times you want to stop. That's when you need emotional resilience, the emotional strength that helps you stand firm in adversity. In the next part, we'll dive into emotional resilience to learn how to stay calm, steady, and keep moving forward even as everything around you changes. Principle 9. Emotional resilience, emotional strength, steady in adversity. Once you've learned to give, there will be days when you feel tired. Days you give a lot but receive very little. Days you do everything right yet everything still goes wrong. And on those very days, I want you to remember this. No one is immune to challenges. Success isn't the absence of hardship. Success is standing firm in hardship. I once said, you cannot change the direction of the wind, but you can adjust the set of your sail. That is the essence of emotional resilience, emotional strength. Years ago, I once lost everything. I went bankrupt, fell into debt, and felt like I had completely failed. But then in the darkness, I realized something. No adversity is strong enough if I don't fall apart inside. The outer world wins only when you surrender within. Emotional strength isn't about not feeling pain. It's about acting even while you're hurting. It isn't about having no fear. It's about walking forward, even while you tremble. You see, everyone wants an easy life. But if life were easy, it wouldn't forge strong people. It's hardship that reveals your true metal. Think about diamonds. They form only under immense pressure. Steel becomes harder after being forged in fire. And people are the same. The challenges you're facing today are the test to see whether you're worthy of what you prayed for. A student once told me, "Teacher, I pray for a peaceful life." I smiled and said, "Don't pray for fewer challenges. Pray for greater strength. Because the world doesn't get lighter. Only you get stronger. And that begins with learning to manage emotions instead of letting emotions manage you. When something bad happens, don't react quickly. Pause. Breathe deeply. And ask yourself, what lesson is this trying to teach me? Lessons are always hidden in difficulties, but only the calm can see them. You can train this ability every day. You don't have to wait until life knocks you down. Start with small things, a criticism, a delay, something that doesn't go your way. Each time you choose calm over anger, you're upgrading yourself. Each time you choose patience over quitting, you're adding another layer of mental armor. I used to write one short line at the end of each day. How many times did I stay calm today? Sometimes just once, sometimes 5 times. But each time I knew I was bigger than I was yesterday. Emotional strength isn't innate. It's the habit of conscious response. And the more you practice, the more resilient you become. People who are emotionally fragile aren't weak by nature. They just haven't trained their inner endurance. Remember this. Emotions are never the enemy. They are signals. They show you what matters. Listen, but don't be led. Feel, but don't be controlled. Calm doesn't mean cold. Calm is strength in silence. When you learn to stay calm in the storm, you become someone no circumstance can break. That is true freedom. Because life doesn't get easier, but you get stronger every day. True strength isn't in never falling, but in rising after every fall with a tranquil heart and unwavering faith. And once you've built inner strength, you'll understand even the strongest must know how to rest. Because no one can run forever. Discipline needs rest. Service needs recovery. Your body and mind deserve to be recharged. In the next part, we'll dive into rest and renewal to understand why rest is also a form of discipline and how you can find strength again in stillness. Principle 10. Rest and renewal. Rest and recharge your energy. After you've learned to stand firm in adversity, remember even the strongest must know how to rest. I once said rest is part of the work. Rest is part of the job. It may sound contradictory, but it's a truth many haven't yet grasped. I've seen many people work day and night. They push, strive, and take pride in being relentlessly busy. But then one day they burn out, not because they had no energy, but because they never recharged it. You see, a bull can only shoot far when it's drawn at the right time and released at the right moment. If you only pull and never release, the string will snap. Life is the same. Discipline without rest turns into exhaustion. Service without recovery turns into a burden. Rest is not weakness. Rest is strategy. It's how you prepare for the next stretch. Like winter in nature, when everything seems asleep, but beneath the soil, life is quietly renewing. I always carve out small moments in the day for stillness. No talking, no listening, no reading, just breathing, just being present. That's when the mind is cleared. When I reconnect with myself, and it's in those moments that the best ideas often arrive. I remember once I worked 3 months straight without a break. When the project ended, I didn't feel happy, only empty. A friend said to me, "Jim, maybe you need silence for a while." I listened. I spent a few days in the countryside. No phone, no work, no plans. At first, I was uncomfortable. I felt like I was wasting time. But then I realized in that very silence, I heard my inner voice again. And when I returned, I worked with twice the clarity and effectiveness. That's why I always tell my students, resting isn't stopping. Resting is so you can continue stronger. You can't pour water from an empty pitcher. To give more, you must know how to fill yourself first. There are many ways to rest, and it isn't always sleep or travel. Sometimes it's an hour without touching your phone, an aimless afternoon walk, a cup of tea, and a few lines in your journal, or just one deep breath amid the chaos. Rest is the art of returning. Returning to the body, the breath, the present. I want you to try this in the next 24 hours. Find 15 minutes just to be alone. No listening, no watching, no doing. Just sit and breathe. When you do that, you're signaling to your mind, it's okay. I'm not being chased. I'm alive. Sometimes what you need isn't more motivation, but less noise. Sometimes what you need isn't more plans, but more space to reflect. Resting at the right time is how you honor yourself. It's how you tell yourself, I deserve peace. Success isn't only about working hard, but knowing when to pause to recharge for the long journey ahead. And once you've learned to rest and renew yourself, you'll be ready to step into the next stage where the relationships and environment around you begin to directly shape your growth. Principle 11. Network wisely. Smart connections. Choose the right people to grow with. After you've learned to rest and renew, it's time to look around because the environment you live in and the people you connect with will shape your future. I once said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This sentence is simple, but it can change your entire life. Think about it. If you're around 5 lazy people, what will you learn? If you're around 5 negative people, you'll slowly see the world through the lens of fear. But if you're around 5 people with disciplined vision and dreams, you can't help but grow. I've been through that. At first, I was just an ordinary young man working hard but not getting far. Until I met a man who later became my first mentor. He didn't teach me tricks to get rich. He taught me to think differently. He said, Jim, if you want to change your life, change the people you talk to every day. I listened. I started spending less time with complainers and more time with people who had direction. After just a few months, the way I spoke, thought, and acted all changed. So look around you. Do the people you meet daily lift you up or pull you down? A good relationship not only brings joy, but reflects your inner potential. They won't let you be lazy. They push you forward. A toxic relationship, on the other hand, makes you doubt yourself and gradually dims your inner light. You can't choose your family, but you can choose your spiritual family. People who share your values, your vision, and rise together. If you want to be positive, be around the visionary. If you want to be better, seek those better than you. If you want to go far, walk with those who dare to dream big. I have a very simple habit. Each year, I review the list of people I see most often, and I ask myself, are they helping me grow or making me smaller? If the answer is smaller, I know I need to adjust. Because you can't fly high if you keep carrying those who pull you to the ground. But don't forget this, You're not only influenced, you're also an influencer. Don't just look for people better than you to learn from. Be someone who inspires others. Be the friend who makes others feel stronger in your presence. Be the small light in a dark room. Because when you help others grow, you expand yourself. This world is a vast network. Every word, every action, every relationship is a connecting thread. If you give genuine value, those threads weave a strong support network that takes you farther than you ever imagined. And do you know what's strange? When you truly focus on giving, the right people naturally find you. Because the energy you radiate will attract the frequency you live at. If you live with positivity, you'll meet positive people. If you live with value, you'll meet people with the same values. You can't change your life in isolation. Choose the right people to walk with because the path becomes clearer when you travel with bright souls. And once you've built a strong growth circle, what you need next is absolute faith in yourself. Because no matter who walks with you in the end, the one who must take the steps is you. In the next part, we'll explore why belief in yourself is the foundation of all sustainable success and how you can build that belief day by day. Principle 12. Self-trust and integrity. Believe in yourself and live true to your values after you've chosen the right people to walk with. The final step on this journey is learning to trust yourself. I once said the greatest form of self-respect is self-trust. The highest form of respecting yourself is trusting yourself. You can have a clear plan, grand goals, and an excellent team beside you, but if you don't trust your own promises, everything will collapse. Self-trust isn't blind faith. It's discipline in action and honesty and choice. It's when you say, I will do this, and you actually do it. Not because someone is watching, but because you know your words are a commitment to your own soul. I once had a student very smart, very hardworking, but he always failed when starting new habits. One time he said, Mr. Jim, I feel like I can't trust myself. I asked why, he replied. Because I've promised myself too many times and never kept it. I looked at him and said slowly, then start again. But this time, don't promise big. Make a small promise and keep it tight. Self-trust isn't built overnight. It's built by small promises kept every day. When you say, I'll get up at 6 o'clock, and you get up. When you say, I'll read 10 pages, and you read. When you say, I won't quit today, and you stand firm each time you send a silent message to your mind, I am trustworthy, and day by day, moment by moment, that trust becomes a solid foundation. But self-trust is truly strong only when paired with integrity. Integrity is doing what's right even when no one is watching. It's choosing the harder path because you know it's the better one. It's refusing short-term gain to protect long-term honor. I've seen many people of great talent lose everything because of one betrayal of their values. They sold their integrity for ease. But when you lose integrity, you lose the very spiritual ground you stand on. Living honestly isn't so others will trust you. It's so you can keep trusting yourself. No one can live powerfully if each morning they look in the mirror and see someone they don't respect. Integrity won't make you rich quickly, but it will make you rich permanently. It won't help you win every contest, but it lets you hold your head high after every loss. And on life's long journey, that is the true victory. Ask yourself today, am I living what I say? Am I keeping my word to myself? If the answer is not yet, don't blame yourself. Just start again and keep the smallest promise. Because trust is built by action, not intention. One day, everything you're pursuing will become reality. And when you look back, you'll realize what makes you proudest isn't what you achieved, but who you became along the way. Someone honest, consistent, and able to trust themselves. True success doesn't come from others believing in you, but from you believing in yourself. Because when that belief is solid, nothing outside can shake you. And when you've built that belief, you've completed the daily dozen of success. 12 daily principles for successful living. But the journey doesn't end here. All 12 principles only truly matter when you turn them into a lifestyle. In the final part, we will summarize this entire journey to turn wisdom, habits, mindset, action into a complete living system, bringing you closer to your best self. And so, you've walked with me through 12 principles of daily success. Each principle is a brick. And now you stand before the house. You yourself have built the house of discipline, wisdom, gratitude, and grit. Looking back on this journey, I realize success is never a destination. It's a way of living. A way of living nourished by small choices, repeated habits, and the values you hold each day. Success doesn't arrive in a single glorious moment. But in the mornings you choose to get up early, the nights you sit and reflect, the times you choose, discipline over comfort, action over delay, integrity over ease. These 12 principles aren't just theory. They are a living map, a toolkit to navigate life's storms. From discipline, you learn self-control. From gratitude, you learn to see life in light. From goals, you learn to aim at the greater. From networking, you learn the power of community. And from integrity, you learn to become someone you respect. When I was young, I thought success was having lots of money, lots of fame, lots of things others admire. But the farther I went, the more I understood true success isn't what you have, it's who you become. Imagine every day in your life is a seed. You can't control the weather, but you can choose how you sow. If you sow discipline, you reap freedom. If you sow knowledge, you reap wisdom. If you sow gratitude, you reap happiness. If you sow value, you reap lasting success. And the miracle is every seed needs time. Don't rush. Don't compare. Don't doubt too soon. Just keep sowing every day. One small action, one right thought, one kind decision. That is the daily dozen. 12 small habits that build a big life. You may not see results immediately, but if you persist one day, you'll stand where others only dare to dream. Not because you are luckier, but because you are more consistent. I believe there's a treasure within every person. But that treasure isn't out there. It's inside. You just need enough courage to unearth it, enough discipline to forge it, and enough integrity to protect it. And when you do, life changes, not because the world gets easier, but because you've grown bigger. Remember, life doesn't reward wishes. Life rewards actions. Not what you think, but what you do every day. I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, which one of these 12 principles will I start applying today? Don't try to do everything at once. Just start with one. Do it well. Do it consistently. Because when you change one small thing, you quietly change the trajectory of your life. And one day, you'll look back and realize, my life changed from the smallest things. These 12 principles aren't my philosophy. They are life's mirror. Live them, practice them, and you will become an inspiration to others. Thank you for walking with me to the end of this journey. If these lessons touched your heart, share them because knowledge truly lives when it is spread. Don't forget, success is not what you achieve, but what you pass on. Let these 12 principles become your living legacy. And one day when someone asks you what changed your life, you can smile and say, I began to live right one day at a time. Jim Rohn Treasures, where timeless wisdom comes alive in every moment of your life.